tell you you don't want your D.C. rep or senator. You want your senator from Missouri. And at that point, if you could give them a call, let them know that you support HB 229, sponsored by Catherine Swan, and you believe in this process, you believe in this shared parenting movement that's going on, not just locally, but all across the country, and for good reason. This is a new pioneering effort. So when people say, well, is this anywhere else in the country? No, because the status quo was taken over for everywhere else. What we need is we need that groundswell from people. If you guys can take a couple minutes, just a simple call. You don't need to have a long conversation. I support HB 229 by Catherine Swan. I understand it's going to be coming to the Senate floor for debate soon, and I'd appreciate your support on it.
Well, thanks for what you guys are doing to help the kids out there. Obviously, this is going to be a heated issue. It is a contentious issue. There's a big cultural push that needs to happen, I think, for more legislation like this to be passed in other states around the country. And certainly Missouri is probably more fertile ground for it than other places. But wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you very much for coming in today. I'm Austin Petersen. If you want to discuss this bill or this legislation, you can always call in. The phone lines are open at 553-556-6397. I'm Austin Petersen with my buddy John Marsh coming up here to give you the local break. KWS 950 AM and 104.5 FM.
Opinion, passion, Jefferson City. This is the show Mid-Missouri has been talking about. The new KWOS Morning Show. News Radio KWOS 950 and on FM at 104.5.
I'm Austin Petersen here with my colleague John Marsh. Good morning, John. That was an interesting segment.
That was a very interesting segment, especially with Mark's personal story about 204 days not being able to see his young son.
Yeah, I've known Mark Ludwig for a little over a year now. I met him out on the U.S. Senate campaign several times, and he speaks from an area of personal pain, and that's really, I think, what motivates people, right? When they see other people, they empathize and they feel their suffering. More than just to have a lawyer come in and talk about, oh, we need to do this because this is what the law says, or we need to, make this work because for whatever reason. It's a lot less cold when you hear somebody's personal story and they tell you, about their son and their relationship with their son, and he clearly loves his son dearly. And has been working very hard to level the playing field, not just for himself, not just for selfish reasons, but for other people as well. I mean, again, this is not, Americans for giving men more access to their sons or daughters. This is Americans for equal shared parenting. The concept should be that all things being equal, that time should be shared. It shouldn't just be assumed that one person or another should just gain sole access to a child for whatever reason, right? There's been a lot of assumptions, and I think sexist assumptions, for a long time that, women are good at doing the laundry, for example, or cooking and cleaning. That's a woman's job.
Or child care.
Yeah, or child care, for example, right? And, and there have been a lot of cultural changes and move the needle on that, right? Women get into the workplace. Women can be bosses and CEOs too, right? When women, taking as, on corporate boards and things like that. And that's a good thing. But then, of course, on the other side of things, it's a little more difficult for men because we have this concept of what is masculine that is still sort of set in stone. Whereas kind of like gender roles are a little bit more fluid lately, whether you like it or not, that's just been happening. Men have been expected to take up more roles as cooking, cleaning, taking care of kids. And
like your story you've told about your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Because after my mother passed away, my dad had to step up and be Mr. Mom. He had to learn how to cook. I'll never forget, he used to work so hard to bring meals to the table for us and things like that. And sometimes they were disasters, right? But, we were a family. We had just gone through a major disaster. And, he did a great job. He wasn't good at baking or anything like that, but he could make mean salmon on the grill. He could make a delicious salmon, and he loved to grill. So my dad stepped up in many ways. People will surprise you by what they'll be able to do when they're put into a situation where they have no other choice, But when it comes to fathers and the roles of fathers in society, John, it seems to me as if we've sort of put them into a situation where it's a no-win situation. Because in some ways, we as men, we sort of enforce this concept of masculinity on one another, right? There's, especially when you're in the schoolyard, you call each other names and you sort of poke fun at your friends if they're a little bit effeminate, right? There's that sort of bullying.
Don't do that in age.
No, don't do that in this day and age, of course. But, But it's really difficult for men because the woman had always been assumed to be the protector, the lover, the one who would cuddle the children, who would take care of them and things like that. But now in our modern society, more women are entering the workplace, so more men are needing to step up and to take a more active role with their children that perhaps that they hadn't in when you were a kid, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Back then, yeah, my mother though my mother was a reporter, a journalist, and all, and worked outside the home a lot as well. So yeah.
So did your dad step in and take up some of that?
He was a career officer, so he was
wow.
busy fighting wars in that era. But so yeah, it was kind of a shared thing. But he'd be gone. You know.
But do you like the idea that this Senate bill passes, the governor signs it, that the assumption would be that both parents, all things being equal, would have equal access to the
certainly.
children?
I've had friends and family members who've gone through this with access issues to the kids, and the way the law has historically been in Missouri, it automatically defers to the mother, even if sometimes, in some cases, there's not that fit a mother because of whatever circumstances, behavior,
it doesn't seem,
actions, whatever.
It doesn't quite seem fair to me. I mean, I have such a wonderful, loving father. I can imagine that there are many others like him. Of course, my father is very special and unique. But when I see Mark talking about the love for his son that he has, and I see the pain on his face, I wonder what it must be like to be in a situation where you wouldn't be able to be with the person that you love the most in the whole world. I mean, I love my dad more than anyone in the whole entire world. The thought of not being able to spend time with him for whatever reason, I mean, it's troubling. I hope that this legislation passes. I hope that more people in the state of Missouri are going to have access to their kids. Again, all things being equal, you're not a drug user and you're not engaging in dangerous behavior or things like that. You can create a safe environment for the child. Then I think equal shared parenting is probably the way to go. I'm curious to hear from our audience. If you'd like to call in to discuss this topic or any other, don't forget, phone lines are open at 553-66397. That's 553-556-6397. John, are you batting down the hatches for the storm tonight? Because apparently there's going to be hail, is what I'm hearing.
Potential for hail, potential for strong winds, even an isolated tornado not out of the picture. Welcome to April in mid-Missouri, correct?
In mid-Missouri, yes. This is my first mid-Missouri experience, so we'll see how the weather differs. But I used to have an apartment in downtown Kansas City. It was a loft with these big, giant windows, so I could watch storms roll in, and it was no problem. But now I have no garage, and I have a truck, so I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen. So hopefully the hail won't be too big, and I'm going to have to go out and cover my plants tonight because nobody wants their tomato plants hit by the hailstorm. So hopefully the weather won't be too bad. Hopefully everyone will be safe. But just out, folks, make sure you bring your umbrella with you tonight. Bring your animals in. Bring in your pets. Make sure that everything's safe out there in Cole County. I am Austin Petersen here, filling in on the KWOS 950 AM 104.5 FM News Talk Radio, KWOS.